Welcome to Wagons of Steel. It's a party and everyone's invited. This week I'm going to try and make this a short video. It's about sobriety, not about cars. Well, sort of about cars. In a couple of days, on the 1st of November, or a couple days ago, depending on when you're watching the video, will mark my 11th anniversary of stopping drinking. I quit drinking on 11/1/11, and it'll be 11 years. So that's some numerology there for you. 1 1 1 1 1 1, and then 2 2. So maybe I should start drinking for 22 years. Probably not. So this video, I'm going to talk about the top 10 things that are best about sobriety. And I kind of put it as a countdown in order. There's other stuff I probably left out, so please feel free to comment, and maybe this will be useful to someone. Maybe it won't. You know, we're all in this together. Before I get into the top 10, I got to give a little shout out to my old buddy, King Cobra Premium Malt Liquor. I did some math. I figure I drank at least 4,000 of these suckers back when I was in art school in my early mid-20s. We lived down the street from 7-Eleven. We bought so many of these, unbelievable. And people would come over and bring them to us just as like a housewarming gift every time they came by. And it's awful. It's really, truly heinous beer. You can run the math on it. I try not. It's like counting how much money you spend on drinking is like counting how much money you spend on hot rods. It's not a good idea. You won't like the numbers you come up with. But you know, $4,000 a piece, something like that. And then after I quit drinking the King Cobra, I started drinking the Sierra Nevadas, and I've always kind of liked good beer, and you know, the bullshit you tell yourself about drinking. Like, I always figured good beer was like, you know, good food. It's like the difference between, you know, Wonder Bread and, you know, some kind of whole grain stuff. And you know, at least if you drink good beers, there's vitamins in it and stuff. But you know, it's all baloney. Okay, without further ado, we'll go for the top 10. Number 10. The 10th best thing about sobriety is you lose a little weight and you look better. You get the color back in your face, and immediately people start telling you look better. I mean, that's just a little vanity thing, and on the scale of life, it doesn't mean much, especially the older you get. You know, I kind of just used to being fat and gray, but you look like a better fat and gray, and it feels good to walk around a little bit lighter, and you know, it helps you keep going in the early days when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, you know, I'm looking better than I used to. Less bloated. It's a good thing. Number 9. The number 9 best thing about sobriety is you get your appetite back. I've counted before, there's different ways of measuring this, but when you drink, and when you drink like an alcoholic, you're throwing thousands of calories at yourself every day with your drinking. And you know, it depends on what you like to drink, and you know, how often you drink, and a bunch of different variables. But bottom line is, you're giving yourself a ton of calories that you would normally get through food, through alcohol, so you don't need as much food. That's not good for you, of course, as everybody is going to admit to themselves if they're being honest. But you get your appetite back. Like, I went for decades of my life without liking breakfast. It was just a terrible idea. I mean, you got a hangover, and you just don't feel like eating it. And sometimes, you know, if the hangover lasts all day, you don't really feel like eating dinner either. And I wasn't even really a puker. Like, a lot of people, blows my mind, you know, like you just get sick all the time from drinking. I like to think I would have never gotten as involved in drinking as I did if that had been the case for me, but you know, who knows. But the bottom line is, when you quit drinking, you get your appetite back. You can eat breakfast, you enjoy dinner. You know, it takes a little while to train yourself to not have to have a glass of wine with a fancy dinner. But, you know, bottom line is, wine doesn't really help a fancy dinner. I mean, you kind of think of the two things going together, but, you know, like, you know, I think peanut butter sandwiches are better than peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I think a really nice dinner is, you know, best when it's served with cold water. Number 8. Number 8 is, it made me a better drag racer. Being sober really made me a better drag racer. It made it more fun all day long. Usually, you know, I did everything with a hangover, and I won some races with hangovers, and I built some cars, and I got to the track, and I did all the things that were necessary. But once I quit drinking, it added another layer of enjoyment to it. I frequently would have times where, you know, if racing wasn't going perfect, I just couldn't wait until, you know, I got eliminated so I could go back to the cooler and start drinking, because you can't drink when you're racing. I mean, they'll kick you off the track, and also, I mean, actually physically being drunk while you race is a poor idea. And to a lesser degree, my sobriety is complete sobriety. I didn't quit smoking pot at the same time that I quit drinking, but I quit smoking years ago. I haven't kept track of the date. Like, if I thought about it, I could tell you how many hours it's been since the last time I had a drink, but I couldn't do that with pot smoking. It's been like 8 or 9 years. Anyways, at an NHRA national event, you never know when they're going to hand you that little slip of paper and say, "Step over to that trailer, please. We would like to take a look at your urine." And they are totally intolerant of everything. And I used to smoke lots of pot, and, you know, if you're a normal person with fat in your body, it depends on how much fat is in your body. It takes between 4 and 6 weeks to be able to pee clean. And fortunately for me, I did get tested one time recently, not that recently, and I was clean. I was doing skip to my loo, because I always used to worry about that when I was a pot smoking drag racer. And you know, any alcohol whatsoever in your system, and you're booted. And I've seen it happen to, you know, big time professional drag racers. How humiliating is that? Not only do you have a hangover, you can't represent for your sponsor driving your big fancy car down the track. And you know, that's no good. So number 8, better drag racer. Number 7, best reasons to be sober, better memory. I have to say, I expected the better memory to come in from quitting pot, and it sort of did, but not drinking really improved my memory. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Like, people used to gaslight me, you know, like, no reason to go into who, but there's various people in my life who've done, you know, if you're a constant blackout drinker, you can say, "Oh, you remember when yesterday you said you were going to give me $100 today," or whatever, and you're like, "Oh, I don't remember that, but if you say so." And, you know, a lot of times you're like, you try not to remember stuff. Like, I did a lot of blackouts when I was a drinker. It's one of the more disturbing aspects of drinking, but, you know, it happens, and you just kind of get used to it, and you know, you let it fly. You know, like, it's okay. And I was, I guess, a pretty decent person when I was in a blackout. I don't know, I can't remember. But once you quit drinking, you don't ever get any blackouts anymore, which is a huge deal. Like, it's really nice to have your memory back that way, but also just your day-to-day memory, like remembering people's names that you're supposed to remember, and appointments you're supposed to keep, and the name of your, you know, kids' teachers, and you know, all the typical places where memory is handy, and you kind of make, you know, there's all kinds of ways to compensate for not having your memory. Just, you know, go to the memory ward at your Alzheimer's, or, like, you know, old folks, you know, can't remember anything. There's all kinds of tricks to pretend that you remember stuff that you don't remember at all. So that's number 7. You get your memory. Very nice. The number 6 thing that's really great about being sober is freedom from the law. I mean, you can break the law when you're sober, but it's there's a whole set of problems that I don't have to worry about anymore. Like, Of course, no DUIs, no stupid decisions made about doing stupid things because I'm drunk behind the wheel, and no risk of reckless child endangerment if you're driving around with your kids in the car and you got beer between your legs, or beer cans turn into open containers, and all kinds of myriad problems that I don't have because I never drive drunk anymore. Number 5. The 5th best thing about being sober is I sleep better. Still don't sleep great. It's been years since I've been regularly sleeping great, but I don't ever have like anybody who's a serious drinker. Like sometimes you just wake up out of nowhere and you have these terrible like feelings of dread about stuff that doesn't make any sense. It's just like that weird dread feeling. I used to think it was just me, but then I've since learned it's a common thing. If you go to sleep drunk, then you just wake up sweating, and just going to sleep drunk it's just crappy sleep, and that's about all there is to say about that. Sleep is kind of boring, but very essential. You feel better if you sleep a little better. Number 4 reason that it's great to be sober is a better attitude. Just overall, I have a better attitude about everything. I feel better about just about anything. It's amazing. It's hard to describe. It's everything from getting up in the morning to just everything. Everybody. I get along better with everyone. I'm not in a bad mood for no particular reason anymore. It's hard to explain, but it's like in the beginning, in the first year, especially in the first couple of months when you quit drinking, you have what they call as a pink cloud, and everybody doesn't get it, but I did. Where just for no particular reason, you just feel great. Like just everything is fantastic. Of course, there's a flip side where you just feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I quit drinking. But most of the time, it's just you feel better about everything. Number 3 on the list of great reasons to be sober is better health. Just overall feeling better, and that's not just the hangover thing. It's without getting too detailed and bad taste. It's like when you drink all the time, as you get older, it starts to systems start to revolt. Like you don't feel good, and you don't your gut doesn't feel good, and it's a sign. Your body's telling you it's time to quit this crap, and it's just great to not feel that way anymore. Number 2. The second best thing about not being drunk anymore, about being sober, is no more hangovers. Hangovers used to rule my life. I just remember that feeling of getting up in the morning and just going, oh my God, I got to deal with this hangover for the next X amount of hours. And, as time went by, I was an all day drinker, so I'd start in the morning. And, so you drink enough and the hangover goes away, and then there's a plateau where you feel kind of normal, and then you're drunk again. And the longer I drank, towards the end of my drinking career, the time between being hungover and drunk got shorter and shorter. And I don't know. I've heard that hangovers you get those from withdrawal. Hangovers basically it's because you're sober and that your body misses having the alcohol in it. I don't know. I'm just glad I don't have to wake up with a hangover anymore and have that feeling of dread. Like, God, this whole day is gonna suck until I go to sleep again, and I can sleep this off. And so, the trick is, don't get so drunk you got a day 2 hangover. And then lots of people swear they never have hangovers, and I'll take them at their word. But that was not me. I had hangovers every day. And the number one reason for being sober, the number one best thing about sobriety is I get to be a good role model for my kids. I get to be there for them all the time, sober. If anything ever happens, I need them, drive them anywhere, I'm always ready. I'm never going to get any horrible, reckless child endangerment shit. I'm not going to make an ass out of myself at a game. They can always talk to me about anything at any time. I'm always ready to have a conversation. I don't ever smell like alcohol or weed. I'm always there for them. It's that's the number one thing. That's the best thing about being sober, is a good example for my kids. And so there we go. There's 10 great things about sobriety. Congratulations to me for hitting 11 years. I really didn't see that happening. I just felt like I was really trapped in it. I couldn't believe I could get out of it. And then I just, when you're ready, you're ready. It's happened to a few friends of mine. It's, nobody can make you do it. You just got to want it. But I'm here to tell you that it's doable. If I can do it, anyone can. And if you feel like it's your time, then go for it. Come on in. The water's fine. So I'll see you next week, and I'll talk about car stuff. Or maybe not next week. I'm going to be going to Florida for a bunch of crap. Maybe I'll tell you about that, and maybe I won't. But until then, keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down and the wet stuff in the engine, and keep them smiling.